Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Debate Hub. I'm Chesh, that's Dapper, Maanya's down there, Landon's down there, and we are here to talk about newsy type stuff and things going on around the world. Some good news, some bad news. I promise I'll come up or invent some good news. Realistically, the entire, everything right now, when I was going to, pull stuff for this month, everything is related to Donald Trump. So I did do my best to find and go digging for stuff that was not Donald Trump. So at least some of it will not be that. But welcome, everybody. Congratulations. Thank you very much. This is our first stream where we are monetized. So greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
We will probably do a celebratory stream about that in the near future. But let's start with Landon. Yes. Let Landon introduce himself. We'll go around to Maanya, then to Dapper, and then we'll get started on our stories. What's going on, Landon? How are you?
Hello, folks. I'm Len Curtinol. Good morning, afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone and latitude. The winners of the International Investigative Sequence Contest will be announced between now and next Debate Hub. So stay tuned because there's some amazing code there. And Madame Pele did some interesting stuff. So stay tuned to our volcano show. And hi. This is cool. And prime numbers are the best numbers.
Yeah. That might be a debate coming up. That might be hinting towards something. Maanya, who is you?
Me? I am just a wandering wanderer who goes from Goblin Q Chesh to Debate Hub, back and forth. I like to go through people's papers and also other people's streams and debunk them and correct misinformation. That's my favorite part. And sometimes I rage out on people who make fun of court systems and weaponize them. So that's me. And you'll find me here, and you'll find me on Goblin Q Chesh and on Twitter most of the time if you want to contact me. But here I am at your service.
And you know something about safety things and
yes, of course.
You can construct sentences without risking life and property.
Yes.
That's a valuable skill.
Right.
Chesh is me.
Dapper, who are you?
I'm Dapper Dinosaur. I show up here sometimes. I also have a channel that's Dapper Dinosaur. I have a different channel that's Top Hats Off. Actually, of the people on this panel, at least 3 will be on Top Hats Off this Friday playing a TTRPG. I have the starter set, and we're going to try the starter set adventure called Trader's Hymn. It's Wrath and Glory.
Nice.
Maanya's going to be playing our totally mentally stable psyker somnus, and Landon is going to be playing a down on her luck but ambitious rogue trader named Lachlan Teague.
Ooh.
Very nice. Well, shall we get started? Shall we dive into some of our stories?
Did anything happen between last month and this month?
Oh boy, did anything happen? I don't know. I mean, I heard... Good news, everyone. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, it has been.
Infowars does now, in fact, own... or is owned by The Onion.
There you go.
Yes.
Congratulations!
Yes.
I know they've been fighting about that one for a while. They've been talking about it. They've been wanting that one done. Man, they finally got it.
And of course, Alex Jones had a wonderful crash out about it. Topless,
oh, yes.
Because of course.
Because of course he was. Why wouldn't he have been? What do you mean?
Yeah. What do you mean?
I admire the humor of The Onion. They do some of the straight humor stuff just to the nines
wonderfully
on there. So I look forward to The Onion onioning Alex Jones stuff and his past material.
Onioning Alex.
Because they own his past material.
Yeah, they do.
So he can't copyright strike them.
Yep.
They own his material. They own the channel. It's not just the name. They own the channel. They own the material. So he is given them.
Yeah. I mean, he had no choice. The man is
Damn.
bankrupt. Because he lost all of the Sandy Hook trials for all of the awful stuff he was saying about Sandy Hook and the victims and the victims' parents. So he well earned. Also, King Charles is visiting the United States. Some people have opinions about that, but the best opinion so far is they put up the wrong flag.
Amazing.
How this happened? How could the?
Now, hold on. To be fair, he is also king of Australia. So
That'd be like putting up the Canadian flag, though.
he's king of Canada too.
All those Union Jacks look alike, except for the Kiwi one has the false cross on it, but that's a difference.
False cross.
Yes,
Southern Cross?
The Southern Cross without the centauri on Australia is accurate. The Kiwi one is the other thing. It doesn't even have the fifth star inside.
Landon's complaining about scientific accuracy.
Well,
As usual.
But I'm complaining about the fact that all those Union Jack, I mean, all those Brits look alike anyway, according to the Washington, D.C. Government. By the way, this is not the city. This is the federal government doing it.
Actually, Landon, since you're a science guy, how will the British people continue to produce more members of that society without a queen to lay all the eggs?
Well, they have artificial insemination and they have a whole brood colony with drones to.
Oh, okay.
Oh. In other good news that I think is going to make Landon happy, Denmark and France have banned all Microsoft products from public office. The phase-out is expected to be completed before autumn of 2026. Within a matter of months.
Wow.
That's fast.
They're being replaced with versions of Linux and LibreOffice.
Nice.
Wow. Wow.
That's a big move.
That would be one of my presidential, edicts would be that sort of thing. But it's Microsoft has decades of operating system competence, decades.
Yes.
And I would, if you have anything you're doing with critical code or operating system stuff, don't hire someone who has contributed to Office or the Windows, right?
By the way, Dapper, your camera's broken.
I'm drinking an Amaro.
Hey, very nice, very nice, very nice.
And it has sort of a very dapper gentleman on it. So
it does.
In honor of me.
Naturally.
Yes. Although the dinosaur, it's a human suit. There's a dinosaur on a human suit. That's the. It's closer to maybe an Amsgar, but that's it.
Yeah, the hat. Microsoft has had a monopoly and a really strong presence that basically let them do whatever the hell they want for a very, very long time. So this move is going to be a big deal. And when France and Denmark both agree to do something like this, it's going to start spreading through the rest of the EU pretty fast, and the rest of the Finland and Norway and all that.
One of the legislative complaints and concerns was that Windows 11 has more and more Microsoft AI stuff. So saying you opt out on their AI stuff but you run Windows is becoming an oxymoron.
Right. You can't do one without the other. In other, did I have, hold on. Sorry, my stuff is a lot of the stories for today didn't really fit in a good, one thing. So I'm just going to be kind of flicking through them as they're coming up. So this is a little bit more good news. Despite apocalyptic warnings, California fast food wage hike didn't kill jobs. They did a study at UC Berkeley. In their third report on the subject and second update of the data, University of California researchers reached the same conclusion that they have twice bedeviled the anti-wage hike sector of the restaurant industry. California's $20 an hour fast food minimum wage, instituted in 2024, did not reduce employment. It led only to the most modest of price increases, barely noticeable to a consumer. It significantly improved the lives of hundreds and thousands of California workers in many of the industry's largest fast food chains, with an average wage increase of more than 10%. So, guess what? You can raise minimum wage and it's not going to kill an industry.
In fact, what it does is it helps the economy, because most people that are living at or near the minimum wage spend the money. They don't have giant 401ks and Bitcoin accounts and things like that. The money goes back into the economy. So I know that those that suffer from the political malady known as libertarianism fly off the handle when this sort of stuff is. But this is an example of how their greed is misled. So I would continue to support, I think federally they should increase the minimum wage to a livable wage across the country, whether that be a uniform thing or a state by state thing.
Can we talk about that burger? What the hell is going on with that burger? What is that?
That's probably AI generated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably
Right,
McDonald's.
that is not a ground beef patty.
Yeah, I don't know what it
could
is.
be McDonald's patty, which is
Might
not
be.
necessarily.
No, they're browner than that though.
Usually.
They're not as light as that.
Maybe they're different in
Maybe
California.
Maybe someone
that could
asked for it to be rare, or
I
maybe
don't
it's a
think you
possibility
can.
cooked and you're just seeing them flipping over.
I don't think that's how that. So there's an ongoing issue with Donald Trump where he was evacuated from the White House Correspondents' Dinner. This is an ongoing issue. So there was a correspondence dinner that was happening right now, and there was a bang, and the president was escorted out. We don't have any more details. It's just an ongoing issue.
I
don't
thought
Wanna
it was
bet
because
it was just a distraction to to use as an excuse to get him out of there because he had a poo-poo episode.
yeah.
I also got
that
a
could
new
be
got a new background for you guys.
excellent.
Thought you'd appreciate that.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's an interesting thing. So that correspondence dinner, one of the things, and sadly, was that I don't know that they had a comedian, because usually the tradition is you have a comedian hosting it that roasts everyone, and then the president gets up and self-deprecates themselves, and they decided
Usually.
that
Yeah, that's not going to happen
the
this year.
humor impaired Agent Orange would be incapable of taking that.
There's a if I remember correctly, when it was Obama in office, that was when he played the he's like, here's my birth tape, and it was The Lion King.
Oh.
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It
That
is funny.
Yeah, but-
Yes.
But Trump is humor impaired, and so I have no idea what happened, because usually, again, it's supposed to be a relax and tell jokes, a roast type of thing. Right?
The GOP is definitely anti-fun. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In other news of good things coming from France, and because we like to laugh at Elon
How
Musk.
rare.
French prosecutors summon Elon Musk over allegations of child abuse images and deepfakes on X. Now, that's been ongoing. There was a raid not too long ago, and this has been part of it, and they summoned Elon. But guess who decided not to show up?
Oh.
Oh dear.
People not showing up to court when summoned? No. That never happens.
But the French prosecutors and French judges are not known for their nicety. Right? The
Tolerance.
French judges have the ability to prosecute and have the ability to do lots of things that American judges would like to do but can't. Right?
Yeah, so for anybody who didn't know, Elon was summoned to Paris, where investigators are looking into allegations of misconduct related to the social media platform, Twitter, currently known as X, including the spread of child sexual abuse material and deepfake content. Now, that's been on Twitter for a long time. That's been an ongoing issue that Twitter has had, and it just didn't get any better. It, in fact, got worse when Elon took it over. But he's been summoned for voluntary interviews while other employees of the platform are scheduled to be heard as witnesses throughout the week. It remains unclear whether Musk will travel to Paris. Well, guess what? He didn't show up. So he did not appear at a summons for questioning in a France probe into Twitter, currently known as X, and its chatbot Grok over alleged abuse of the algorithms and fraudulent data extraction. The Paris prosecutor's office said the investigation, which has been expanded in the past months to include suspected complicity in distribution of child pornography and the creation of sexual deepfakes by Grok, has added to the strains in relation between the United States and Europe over big tech and free speech. Now, in addition, for anybody who doesn't know, there was also another big win in the EU for Stop Killing Games, where and now
Huge.
Yeah, huge win, and Ubisoft has folded. For anybody who doesn't know, Ubisoft is one of the biggest game developers overall, and is also the biggest one, if I'm not mistaken, in France. It is based in France. Or it's a French company, I should say. They do have a head office in Canada, but that's neither here nor there. But they've folded to it. So they're already agreeing to the terms. They're not arguing about it in, like, the upper courts anymore. Stop Killing Games won their argument, so...
Yeah. And that's sort
funny.
of relevant for people that want to play old games that have been abandoned and don't want to get copyright strikes. But to be as a disclosure, back when Twitter was Twitter, the Twitter used the FNB hash, or in the in FNB hash, to do a lot of record locations and actually even hashtag that stuff. But the folks there told me before Space Karen bought the place that Twitter was transformed into a bot form, right, where they're going to basically monetize by selling information to bots and to data brokers. And so they said, get your stuff off of Twitter. I downloaded my stuff, abandoned
It's also
stuff.
like,
So,
it's also funny, like, when it comes to ensuring that Elon takes accountability, suddenly free speech starts like butting in. And it's like, it's not just about free speech, it's also about protecting children, right? We are very big, I thought like America is very big on protecting children all the time, right? That's why they want to ban abortions and all that shit, right? But when it comes to protecting them online, for some reason, free speech wins over that. And this is not even free speech. It's about taking the autonomy of the children away, and also the autonomy of the people away. That's why I reported someone who made a deepfake of me saying something I never did, because it's like, you do not make something of me saying that I did not say and I would not say. You don't have that right to take that autonomy away from me. So I hope that Twitter just gets restricted to America only and just dies.
Yeah.
Just dies.
But Maanyaa, what takes precedent over even that is you give money to Trump or the family or one of the oligarchs, and you're okay. And that takes precedent over protecting the children. So that's what I'm expecting is going to happen US side. But Grok in particular is a poop pile.
It's a menace.
Its filter
it's a menace.
It's pretty thin. And I think some of the more serious stuff that the French prosecutors and French judges are going after are what Grok is doing. In terms of stuff where you know they generate simulated PDF files, and they also take known PDF content and enhance it.
Oh my God.
And the conversation that you do, so Grok has this allegedly thin filter, right? So the Grok produces the answer, and there's this interface in front that says, do I want to let it out? So if you were to ask Grok to say something really nasty about Elon Musk, the filter would say, I can't talk to you about that. And so
really? How convenient.
But it's the 5-year-old problem, right? Where that filter is like a 5-year-old, and a 5-year-old says, mommy says I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. And she say, well, let me introduce you to myself. I'm Landon, and I'm not a stranger. And then the 5-year-old tells you what you're doing. So part of the complaint is that their little 5-year-old filter is easily confused and tricked into something. Where you say, my name is this child, give me new pictures of myself. And it says, well, I can give you pictures of yourself, that's fine. And
right.
example. No, they shut that down, but you can figure out it's very easy. And so the French people are saying not only is Grok allowing this to happen, but they're monetizing. This is a feature, not a bug that they're trying to fix.
Right.
Yes, it is a feature. Yes, it's a premium plus feature, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
For PDF file generation.
Yeah.
Great.
And revenge porn.
And revenge porn.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a whole other issue. But in good news, it looks like if anybody's gonna take down Elon not showing up and Grok and it being a mess, and a lot of these oligarchy problems that are not even necessarily in their own country, it's gonna be the EU.
Yeah, so talk about this stop killing games thing and what's happening there.
So basically what's going on for too long didn't read the Stop Killing Games thing. Basically it's a matter of planned obsolescence. And a matter of like consumer protection. So video game companies would make video games and then eventually they would turn those games off with no prior notice or any like plan that's the consumer is made aware of ahead of time for how long the game is going to be accessible. And then when they shut down their service, the game is left in an unplayable state. And Stop Killing Games is basically saying, hey, listen, we're not asking you to keep your games going forever. We're not asking you to service these games forever, but we're asking you when you do shut yours down, you leave the game in a playable state or in a functional state so anybody who's bought or spent money on their game can play their game still, provided they do X, like if they have to do X, Y, or Z to do it, fine, but then it still exists, the data's still there, the data and information, and in some cases art do not go away, that experience isn't gone. So that's what it's about.
There's other things as well, such as if you have abandoned games, right? If you have a 64K original Game Boy thing and you want to put it up there, they'll say, no, not a copyrighted thing, but you can't buy it from them. You can't use it on any, supported hardware. And so the Stop Killing Game says if you abandon a game, people can still play it. They can build, because there's a bunch of people that build emulators of retro games.
Yeah.
But if you have something that Sony or Nintendo or something thinks is theirs, their bot lawyers will come in and hammer you but you go to say, okay, I'll buy it from you. They say not for sale.
Right, exactly. It's left non-functional. Yeah.
It's also like about these games sell you these developers sell you the games as if like you own the game, but then in the legal fine print they say that it's temporary permission.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not also like Pirate Software, whoever that fucking moron was who kept like harping that he worked for
Blizzard,
whatever, like the fucking Nepo baby. He said that it's not about, he tried to say that it was about publishers maintaining service forever at infinite cost. It's not about that. It's a more reasonable demand.
Never was, yeah.
It's when like Landon said, when a company ends official support, it should leave a game, and like Tesh also said, it should leave the game in a working state where technically possible, like an offline mode or a LAN support, or provide private server tools, right? Or some other end of life plan.
Right.
So like it's
as part of the development, and it's not retroactive. It's forward. It doesn't go back. They're not asking them to try to build things and stuff that they've already developed. They're talking about if they could do it retroactively, that'd be a really good thing for these developers to do as like a act of good faith. But that's not really what's being asked for. It's just forward, not backwards.
It's about,
and again,
it's about like protecting consumers against like intentional destruction, because what some of them do is sometimes they will stop manufacturing the game and you don't own the game anymore, you can't play it, but then they will relaunch it and then you'll have to buy it again, and then you're like, excuse me, I bought it like a decade ago and you want me to buy it again now. So it's that protection also for the consumers, right? Because there are some games that come back by popular demand, but if you already bought a copy, why are you supposed to buy a copy again? Right? So it's all that protection. And I think so, Chesh, you said that Ubisoft was the one that first that have agreed to it. I think so. If Ubisoft agreed to it, then other developers will fall in line soon. I'm quite sure of that, and that's really good.
One
And
of
fuck
the
Paris trying to interfere with it.
And again, I think the abandonware stuff, where a company has no longer sells the hardware, no longer supports the thing, no longer will sell something there, and someone has a copy of a game module and builds an emulator, that should be fair use. If you've abandoned the set, you shouldn't have these bot lawyers coming in and doing strikes because you're using an emulator of a game.
one of the
There were several like private servers that were hosting like old games, and then these game developers came in and started like striking them and deleting them, and people were like, what is your fucking problem, dude? You don't want to maintain them, we are maintaining them, then just fucking go away.
One of the things is that makes this a really big deal is the EU is made up of a lot of countries, and a lot of those countries have people in them who buy games and play games and make games. And so it's one of those situations where if you have to do it in the development process of your game, if you want to sell your game in the EU, you're not going to make a different version of the game for everywhere else. Now, that doesn't mean that other countries shouldn't put their own laws in place that basically parallel or match or mirror what the EU is doing. It simply means that even if you're a developer like Microsoft, who does develop games, or Bungie, or BioWare, then you're likely going to need and/or have, by all intensive purposes, or want to follow the EU laws so you can, sell your game. So that's likely what's going to end up happening. What happens in the EU kind of just happens and ripples out to everywhere else when it comes to
another thing is that, for example, please go ahead.
There's not a realistic situation in which like Ubisoft is like, well, we're going to end support in the US, and but we're going to make it available to play after we end support in the EU, and not just have that available in the US. Like what it would require more work to do that.
Yes, and more money.
That's dumb.
Yeah. There is a super chat that I want to read out real quick, just because it's something we already talked about, from Rosina. That's for $4.99 that says, Trump rushed off stage after shots fired at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. It's an ongoing updating situation. If there's anything more by the end of this stream, we'll touch on it again at the end. So hopefully we'll come back to that, and maybe there'll be some more good news for everybody. Go ahead, Landon.
I would say for this in terms of consider a company like Bugthesda that produces buggy code, right?
Yeah.
And really horribly buggy code. And so then somebody goes and tries to patch it and fix it. And then they go back to the person saying, you are messing with intellectual property, bad. So one of the things as well is to say, you can fix code that is broken. And if the developer refuses to fix it.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Imagine being pro-consumer.
Imagine being pro-consumer.
Wow.
Can't be capitalism. Yeah, what are you talking about? Disgusting, horrid.
Oh my god.
All right. In less good news. Let's not do this one yet. Hold on. No, not that one. Let's go with this. Let's go with Russia and stuff going on with Russia and some updates here. So Poland is warning that Russia could attack NATO in months. So for anybody who doesn't know, a couple of months ago, and I think we talked about it here a couple of months ago, Russia was doing some flybys and accidentally went into Poland's airspace with their bomber drones or whatever. And needless to say, as soon as that happened, Canada was literally there and was like, oh, hey, bud, how's it been? Been a minute? Hi.
Hello.
For anybody,
is that a drone you got there?
Oh, it's a shame that drone got shot out of the sky there, eh, bud?
Oh no.
But for anybody who doesn't know about this, anybody who's been following us for any length of time probably does know. But for anybody newer or who doesn't know, Canada and Russia have long beef, like ancestral beef.
But not long pork, right?
Right. Probably. I don't know. That sounds war crimey, so we might.
Yeah. Only
um,
before
So what
it was declared a war
basically,
crime.
yes.
yeah. So what basically, Donald Tusk is saying that he's not saying that it will happen like tomorrow or in months. He's trying to warn that Russia's like attack on NATO is not something that Europe can distance itself from it, right?
Yeah.
It's on the doorsteps. It's gonna happen, and they should prepare in advance for it.
Well, the issue is that Kaliningrad, which unfortunately was given to Russia, this part in Russia, the access to that used to go through Poland and I believe it's Latvia, right? And they basically shut down that access, and Russia is threatening to punch through there to have direct access to this enclave, and so both Poland and Lithuania and the Baltic states are saying this is getting more and more desperate. Now, the problem, of course, is the Gentlemen of Putin organization, otherwise known as the GOP, has too many Russian sycophants who will cheer on Russia while Russia sees an opportunity to essentially try to take back Baltic states and access through Poland to Kaliningrad.
I mean, this isn't the first time Poland has been the target of getting like steamrolled over as another country is trying to take over Europe. Like, it's not the first time. Well, and so Poland is already like heftily side-eyeing this entire situation with Ukraine, and now is only escalating their side-eyeing as Russia gets more and more aggressive and is getting more and more stressed out. And what does a cornered animal do? Right?
And so
like,
the Russian agents and sycophants in the White House are giving Putin a pass, are suggesting that because NATO isn't going to the Middle East, where NATO has not any regulations to defend, now that would U.S. has somehow abandoned NATO because they're not supporting Trump's illegal war, and the Putin sycophants are pushing U.S. to back out and seeing this opportunity to capture more states. But what do you expect from a war criminal who's a failed Moscow taxi cab driver, corrupting a war criminal who's poops in his pants and a narcissist, being aided and abetted by a war criminal who wants to stay out of jail by doing ethnic cleansing in his by Palestinians? What do you expect?
There's also
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Maanyaa.
It's also like I said in the live chat. It's also like it's a test now. Like, how credible is NATO, right? When tested under pressure. That's what it is about too now. And like Article 5 says that an attack on one member should be treated as an attack on all. And like Tusk is like now saying, is this just a written treaty, or whether like this alliance has the political will and the military readiness to it's tied into like a lot of It's tied into a lot of different things, but Cash just joined at the amateur debater level. Thank you very much. And then immediately complained that they were an amateur and not a master. Well, I should tell you what the levels are. So an amateur debater this is going to be in Canadian numbers, and then I'll translate to freedom units. Amateur debater is $2.99. Novice debater is $8.99. Apprentice debater is $14.99. Journeyman debater is $19.99, and master debater is $24.99. In American dollars, that's about $1, $5, $15, $20, and then $25, roughly, give or take.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we're seeing with regards to Putin's manipulation of the White House is that he has, one of the things is the Heritage Foundation Project 2025 wants to get U.S. out of any foreign entanglements and foreign agreements because, things like treaties mess up libertarians wanting to be selfish pricks. And so they would like to have the NATO alliance collapse because then they can do things that the NATO alliance might say, don't do that. And so I think the fact that NATO has not joined, Trump's illegal war against Iran, it's going to be used as a pretext if Russia attacks NATO, Agent Orange will say, "Screw you! You didn't help us. We're not going to help you." And so, what I think Europe has to do is defend itself. Don't rely on a rogue state called the United States. Don't rely on the rogue state of Russia not attacking you. You better get to the point of defending yourself. Unfortunately, in my opinion.
Dapper, you have thoughts on this?
I mean, I agree. I think that breaking NATO has long been the goal of, I don't want to say Trump, because I don't think Trump gives a fuck. So it's more the friends, right? Because Trump doesn't give a fuck. He barely even knows what NATO is.
Yeah.
Let's be fair.
Yeah,
right? Like,
he doesn't know the G7 is.
No, right. Like, this is a man who is entirely uninterested in all of this stuff, and also whose brain is falling apart in real time. So even if he did have an interest at one point, he wouldn't be able to keep these thoughts in his head anyway. But what it has been is a sort of a goal of a lot of the people who put him in power and who have been his handlers variously. And part of that is, part of it is just that, you know, there's an ideological commitment to say that foreign aid is just bad per se, regardless of the form it takes. That's why USAID was largely shut down. And basically the only country that deserves foreign aid, of course, is Israel, because if Israel does enough nonsense, then maybe Jesus will come back. And I wish I were exaggerating. I wish that were an exaggeration. Right. It isn't.
It's just a matter again of the notion that by trying to kill off treaties, that the U.S. could then be, as the oligarchs take over the U.S. federal government, they don't have to worry about treaty violations because they can just abandon that sort of thing.
I really don't think this is that much of a test of NATO. This is just a test of the United States. Like I said, Canada was already there. Canada's already vibing in Poland. Canada has been vibing in Poland. Canada was also there in Ukraine before the annexation of Crimea. So, like, Canada was there and has been there and is still going to be there. Canada's also the only foreign country that is part of the rearmament of Europe. And so if you want to talk about the whole of the EU rearming, then the UK, and also Canada, then you've got, like, the Nordic states. So, like, this is going to be less of a, are we testing NATO, or is Russia, quote-unquote, testing NATO? But Poland is more like, so guys, what are we doing about this, and how quickly are we going to be moving? And the answer is Canada's kind of already there. One of the other things that's gone on recently, for anybody who doesn't know, is in the last year, Canada's recruitment to the military has gone up by 13%. That's a lot. Big fucking number. And this is with talks of war going on. This is with threats of annexation by the United States. This is with Iran going on. This is with Palestine going on. This is with Ukraine going on. This is knowing that there is a threat of war on the other side of the world, or even at our front door. And as classic as Canadians are, we're like, oh, fascism, you say? Let me get my gun! Like, Canada has this really bad habit of not doing what everybody else does and being like, oh, there's wartime, our military recruitment is gonna go down. We're like, oh, it's wartime? Let's fucking go.
War moose.
Yeah, right.
What I hope happens is that the Canadian Conservative Party does not get back into power soon, because there are people there who have been convinced that being friendly with Russia is a good thing.
Right.
Putin is. You think Canadians are petty as fuck? Putin wants to hurt Canada in the worst way possible, because Canada is very experienced in accounting forensics and they've been finding Russian stolen stuff and encumbering it. And Putin doesn't like that. Now,
and we've been training the people who fight and fly and, like, the bombers in Ukraine, and have been part of the strategic planning of the military for Ukraine in their strikes, and have been, around doing things.
I hope that the Conservatives, as they currently constituted, don't get back into power anytime soon, because they're going to be sympathetic.
They're not doing well in the polling, so I'm not too worried. Also, hackers breach Russian ministry call, revealing China supplies 90% of drone electronics.
Yes.
Not shocking.
Is anyone surprised? I don't think anybody is surprised.
No one
Ukrainian hackers disrupted a closed-door meeting at Russia's Ministry of Industry and Trade, exposing Moscow's deep dependence on Chinese components in the production of military drones used in the war against Ukraine. A recording of the meeting, published by Ukrainian prankster, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Yevgen Volnov? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I tried out of respect. If I didn't respect them, I wouldn't have tried. Captures officials discussing supply chains for unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs. In the audio, one participant acknowledges that nearly all electrical components used in Russian drones are sourced abroad. Quote, if we're talking just about electrical components, then 90% is always foreign raw materials. They simply aren't produced in Russia, end quote, a voice says during the meeting. Another participant adds that even basic materials are no longer domestically available. Quote, even the plastic is Chinese now, right? Because there's no Russian plastic. The meeting was abruptly interrupted when Ukrainian hackers broke into the conference feed with explicit threats, warning participants that they had been identified. Quote, all your faces are recorded, so watch your backs. You, the bald one first. One of the hackers said.
Nice.
So I will point out that Emperor Winnie the Pooh has, through his intellectual property theft companies, stolen the tech and are manufacturing it. They are one of the big suppliers of currency to Russia, and so the war of aggression that Russia is committing on Ukrainian people is in part being funded by the Chinese Communist Party. So down with the Chinese Communist Party and screw you, Emperor Winnie the Pooh. In my opinion.
What this to me, what this is, what makes this maybe what's not obvious, I guess, in learning about like the plastic and all of the components and things having to be foreign source, regardless of whether or not it's coming from China or somewhere else. It means that like the Russian economy and the Russian capabilities are fucked. Like, just like their infrastructure is fucked. If they can't even like produce anything for their own military anymore, they have to go outside.
Although let's be also said that Agent Orange, in his illegal war on Iran, has basically relaxed the sanctions on Russia, and his war against Iran has driven up oil prices, and Russia's benefiting from that. So he allowed Russian embargoed oil to be sold, and then so Russia's getting current temporary cash infusion because they were near collapse economically. Well,
Ukrainian strikes have wiped out $25.5 billion off Russia's war machine. So the drone strikes are killing Russian troops faster than Moscow can replace them for 4 months running. The Ukrainian military estimates its strikes on Russian military infrastructure have resulted in about $25.5 billion in combined direct and indirect losses for Moscow, according to the commander-in-chief. They said that our Ukrainian forces are continuing to carry out strikes against key elements of Russia's military industrial base and infrastructure, while also adapting tactics to offset Russia's numerical advantage on the battlefield. According to him, Ukraine is using what he described as quality-based approach to warfare, forcing Russian units into less favorable conditions and repeatedly delaying planned offensives. Yes. As for like what's going on with the EU and NATO, right? They made this. He made the statements after meeting senior military representatives from NATO and the European Union in Kyiv, including NATO Military Committee Chair Admiral Giuseppe Cavo Dragone, I don't know, and EU Military Committee Chair General Sean Clancy. He told the visiting NATO and EU officials that Russia continues offensive operations despite significant losses in manpower, weapons, and equipment. He stresses that air defense remains Ukraine's top priority due to ongoing missile and drone attacks. But, like, the EU is there. NATO are there. It's just a matter of getting them to fucking move.
And this is part of the asymmetric warfare that we're seeing, where a organized, some technology can outmaneuver a classic giant, war machine. And we're seeing this in Iran, where while you can bomb a bunch of their stuff, they can, with small amount of effort, cause immense...
Iran, you say? Iran caused more extensive damage to U.S. military bases than publicly known. U.S. bases and equipment across the Middle East came under attack, including from Iranian F-5, despite American air defenses, and repairs could cost billions of dollars.
Yeah.
I keep hearing this when we've kept hearing this for a good number of years, and it's like, oh, the American military is so big, it's so powerful. Oh, the Russian military is so big, it's so powerful.
Mustache.
Yeah, right? It's like, you guys, I think you might be huffing too much of your own paint. Yeah. It's propaganda.
And also, like, it's like also like Russia used this excuse of like, oh, Ukraine joining NATO is an act of aggression. So NATO is like, oh, you attacking Ukraine is also an act of aggression. Here we go. So we will, support Ukraine in its war against you. How about that? And it's also about making the Russia's war machine more expensive and slower and harder to sustain. And that's what's happening here. And that's fantastic. I think so. All they need to do now is to sanction China properly. And yeah, Russia will be like...
Yeah, I'm not sure that sanctioning China is the way to go. Right now, China is trying to reposition itself on the global stage. And I think being more accepting of China, saying, hey, China, stop this shit and we'll be willing to work with you and give you more, might be the way to go.
I'm sorry that the Chinese Communist Party's face lost things about defending their stupid 9-dash line and their aggression stuff is not going to stop, right? Until the Chinese Communist Party is gone and no longer running China, having deal with them is deal with the devil. In terms of Ukraine, what it's doing...
So is America.
And by the way, saying so is someone else doesn't change the fact of what China is doing. Now, the case of Ukraine,
of course not.
Things that look at what's happening in the Middle East. Ukraine is engaged in long-term defense contracts with the Middle East countries who want to understand how Ukraine is using drones and other defense stuff to defend themselves, because they can't depend upon Agent Orange or the U.S. military. So they're going to Ukraine, who is basically teaching the world about how to do asymmetric warfare. But as long as the three major war criminals, Netanyahu, Putin, and Trump, continue to stuff, people are going to have to resort to asymmetric warfare to try to defend themselves, and depending on who they are. Doesn't mean that they're right, but it's saying that today's military is got to deal with an adversary that for a small amount can cause a lot of damage. So Trump and his, I want to have World War I, World War II style battleships because I want them to look cool. There's a lot of Navy stuff, which is just essentially floating targets for stuff. And what Ticketmaster is not telling you is the damage that these asymmetric things are doing to naval assets in the Persian Gulf, because he basically doesn't allow anyone who he doesn't like to report on stuff out of the Pentagon because they're afraid of the facts.
Something free press.
What is that?
What? Never heard of it. I mean, I don't mean to say that China isn't bad and that the Communist Party in China isn't doing bad things and that working with China is not a risk. Those things are all a risk, but I
didn't want to apply that to you, Jess. Sorry.
Oh, no, I know. I agree with you that saying that the United States is doing bad things the same way China is doing bad things does not mean that it doesn't change anything, that what China is doing is still bad. My point is that we have to deal with somebody. We can't just not do trade with anybody, and we can't just pretend they don't exist. So if we want China to stop supplying things to Russia, sanctioning China might not be the way to go, since we already sanctioned them. It might be better for us to find another avenue that's like, hey, listen, you're getting a lot of money from Russia. What if we give you access to this market to offset what you're going to lose from working with Russia, so you don't lose any money and you gain access to a market that you were otherwise removed from, if and only if China is willing to be amicable in the way it's engaged on the global stage.
I think with dealing with China, we might have to think out of the box, because
that's what I mean.
Like sanctioning works to a certain extent, but if you give them a little leeway, they start doing whatever they want. So I think it will be a combination either of sanctions and talks or trade, give them more avenues to trade and all that stuff, or it will be just straight up blackout. Something out of the box has to be.
I honestly think that going in and doing trade with China is going to have more influence on directing China in a more positive direction in the way it deals with its own people and like in its own government, and the way its own people behave is a better direction than just trying to isolate them. Because if they get totally isolated, they're just going to stay in their own toxic loop over and over and over again. Now, obviously, you still need to be careful, and obviously this is like not something you just turn on and turn off. This is China works on long-term plans, and so if you're going to engage with China, you also need to have long-term plans.
And there are a lot of shell companies also that are involved. So I would say maybe not sanction all of China. You can do is, but you can maybe find out the specific companies that that supply to Russia and then sanction them. So and then provide trade opportunities to the rest of the companies who don't supply to Russia, and say, see, if you don't supply to Russia, you will get opportunities, but if you supply to Russia, you're gonna get sanctions. So that that might be a good approach in this regard.
And with regards to warfare and military spending, again, look at what Ukraine is doing to Russia. The U.S., if they're going to invest in defense and military, needs to consider this asymmetric stuff. There are technologies for anti-drone type stuff, and those need to be developed. So instead of just getting the Pentagon and the Pentagon suppliers, whole many hundreds of billions of dollars, they should be investing much more in handling the new era of asymmetric warfare. Building cool battleships that Trump says, I like this look of this thing. I want it to look like a real battleship. Like, no, stop building giant targets, bases and floating bases, and start dealing with the new modern warfare that's asymmetric.
But Landon, it's got so many big guns. That's how you do a war, is you shoot the big guns.
And we understood what happened to the Bismarck and the Miller and so forth, these giant floating things, but we're doing the same thing, right? A modern military needs to understand this asymmetric stuff and handle this thing. Furthermore, that is something that I'm hoping that Ukraine is working with countries like Taiwan to defend itself from the Chinese Communist Party that wants to take it over, right?
Right.
To use
but Landon,
asymmetric things to defend itself.
If I were to play devil's advocate and try to see maybe what Trump's strategic goal is, what if we made a gun so big that it shot bazookas that themselves shot missiles?
You're saying that Donald Trump's plan is to build the Juno cannon from Final Fantasy VII?
Yes.
But you have to have gold leaf on the barrel because it's got to look cool.
Well, yeah.
If it's not shaped like a dick, is it cool? The answer is no.
No.
Yeah, it has to be dick-shaped.
Has to be dick-shaped.
I mean, look at all the rockets. They're all dick-shaped.
It's true. All right, I'm going to rattle off a little bit of, news that's going to sound a little bit uncomfortable, but, whatever. It do be what it do. Pope Leo condemns capital punishment amid U.S. execution push. So the United States is like, we should do more executions. And the Pope is like, maybe don't do that. Meanwhile, I'm over here being like, listen, if you're going to Canada doesn't have the death penalty. If you're going to do the death penalty, I recommend guillotines. And the reason listen, I have a whole sales pitch All right, if you're gonna do it, you need to use guillotines, and I will explain why. 1, they're cheap to make. 2, they're easy to maintain and clean. 3, they're quick, relatively painless. You can just line people up, foom, foom, foom. They're environmentally friendly. They're easy to transport. They're entertaining. Yeah, guillotines. Yeah, you can set them up like a fucking IKEA couch.
Well, you could disassemble it and then take it and then assemble it, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're easy to transport. You just fold it up, pop it back up, slip the thing back up. Easy. The blade is open, so it's super easy to clean, super hygienic. You can wipe it down after every swing. Like, come on. If you're gonna do it,
I will suggest the safety stuff for it. Couldn't hear you.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to have a dangerous method of execution. That would be a bad idea.
all I'm saying is it's like one of the most reliable way. It's not gonna fail. All you have to do is keep it relatively sharp, and it'll be like one of the least painful ways to go compared to like the other options. I'm just saying. That's my argument. Chat, you guys let me know. I'm convinced that if you're gonna do it, the guillotine's the best one to choose. It's also like scary enough. Like it's big, it's spooky, you know what I mean? Fine, whatever. Senator John Fetterman receives no support for re-election from Pennsylvania House Democrats, says the report.
Oh.
So, Pennsylvania Democrats are reluctant to support Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, yeah, for re-election, according to news report. They spoke to several Pennsylvania congressional members on Monday about whether they'd be willing to endorse Fetterman for another term in 2028, despite the backlash he's facing for opposing the Democratic Party. Quote, want a sense of how tenuous Senator John Fetterman's position is with the Pennsylvania Democrats? Not a single Pennsylvania House Democrat in the delegation will say Fetterman should run for re-election as a Democrat, the report says. Though the House members did not explicitly reject the idea of Fetterman running again, they avoided answering whether they believe Fetterman should seek a second term as a Democrat, often focusing instead on the 2026 midterm election. So, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Fetterman got, like, brain damage, right?
How
I don't remember.
I thought he had, like...
I know that he had some medical problems.
Yeah, he had a medical issue, and I was under the impression that, like, it damaged his brain. Hold on, let me check his Wikipedia. But he's, like, a lot of people are really not happy with him because he's been voting against, or he's been voting with the GOP, I should say. And so he's got a lot of quote-unquote controversy. I guess, was it a stroke? He had a stroke?
Wait a minute, are you saying that brain damage might lead to political alignment with the GOP? Is this what's going on right now?
All I'm saying is that I have seen at least 2 examples of this happening, and I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
Okay.
So that's
I'm just checking his Wikipedia. Go ahead.
So has he been like disagreeing with the Democratic base? Is he what he's doing, and he's doing it loudly, publicly, and in venues that reward him for attacking the Democrats?
He's voting for the GOP's. He's one of the reasons why some of the people that are part of like the cabinet and stuff have been voted in, because the rest of the Democrats are voting against and he's voting for.
And he's also done stuff where, like some of the war power resolution, where the Republican Ron Paul opposes it and he supports it, and basically they're canceling each other on those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I gotta say, I'm actually a little bit surprised that Rand Paul has been having principles, because I thought that, like, his dad obviously had principles, but I had thought that his son had kind of, Rand had kind of abandoned those. But it's nice to see that even if they might not be everyone's principles, that at least he's got them, unlike pretty much everyone else in the GOP.
Yeah.
So So he's trying to be an independent, and now he's trying, and he's realizing that basically he's being isolated now because he tried to appear independent. So I guess
I don't
like you
even know
can
if that
say
was
that
his
you're a
goal.
Democrat.
I know,
but
I don't think so. I wouldn't agree with that as the... it seems to me like the issue that he has is that people voted him in as a Democrat, and when the Democrats need to be
yeah.
voting as a bloc, he's not voting as a bloc, and it is
He's not doing that,
undermining
yeah.
and enabling the GOP to do shit that the Democrats
Yeah,
and most
that's
of
what I mean,
Americans
that-
don't want to be happening. Yeah, but it's not about being an independent.
No, okay. Like I can see, like, you can just say that you're a Democrat, like, but if you're not going along with what the Democratic voters and representatives and activists and all wanted you to do, and they stop believing that you are fighting for them, and they don't believe anymore that you're fighting for them, then you're not a Democrat anymore, right? So that's what the result is. You won't get that support anymore. So
Right.
I don't get it. What is he trying to do here? What is he trying to achieve at this point? If he's just going, he's not going to make any progress in regards to policy or anything else. So what is he trying to do here?
Yeah, from my understanding,
Good question.
Confuse his
From my
voters,
understanding, he
gaslight his
did.
voters and representatives. Like what?
From my understanding, he does have a medical issue that is affecting his brain, and that should, in my opinion, that should force you to step out of political office, in my opinion. But hey, what do I
Did the
know?
article say he had a? What was his medical issue?
I couldn't find it. I think it was a stroke, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, he had a stroke in 2022.
Yeah, the Pennsylvania senator has supported Donald Trump in his ongoing war against Iran and strict border policies.
And then he
If you want a more
also-
recent one.
Yeah, he had a stroke in 2022, and then he
There it is.
entered Walter Reed in 2023 for treatment of clinical depression.
Okay, there's depression.
And
I
there
knew
can be
about.
post-stroke depression effects can be there in 1 and 3 stroke patients. So yeah.
In other news, Trump fires the entire National Science Board.
What the fuck?
This is really sad. Very sad.
Yeah, multiple sources are reporting. Could you fuck off? Multiple sources are reporting that Trump administration has dismissed the entire National Science Board, or the NSB. The NSB advises the President and Congress on National Science Foundation, NSF, which has already been funding research at historically low levels and has seen significant delays in doling out that funding. The NSF has been fundamental in helping develop technologies using MRIs and cell phones and helped get Duolingo off the ground. For example.
Gonna stop with the internet.
Rip
and things like
Duolingo.
that. But
Yeah, I know,
again,
right?
The Heritage Foundation and those that suffer from libertarianism want to stop the NFS because it basically does science or promotes research that they don't like.
Here's a different link that we can see a little bit more into. Okay. Scientists and engineers serving for the National Science Board received letters from the Presidential Personnel Office on Friday telling them that they have been fired. The board, which was created in 1950 to be an independent entity to guide the National Science Foundation, is made up of scientists and engineers from universities and industry. Board members are appointed by the president but serve 6-year terms to help ensure they cross administrations. The NSF provides grants for scientific research and has helped develop technologies using MRIs, cell phones, LAS, eye surgery, and more. The letters they received, according to screenshots shared with the Washington Post, said, quote, "On behalf of President Donald J. Trump, I am writing to inform you that your position as a member of the National Science Board is terminated effective immediately." Representative Zoe, the Democrat in California, the ranking member for the Science Committee, said in a statement, quote, "This is the latest stupid move made by a president who continues to harm science and American innovation. The NSB is apolitical. It advises the president on the future of NSF. It unfortunately is no surprise a president who has attacked NSF from day one would seek to destroy the board that helps guide the foundation. Will the president fill the NSB with MAGA loyalists who won't stand up to him as he hands over our leadership in science to our adversaries? A real Bozo the Clown move.
Good for you, Zoe Walkman.
So it's like he's removing...
Very nice person. I highly recommend following her. She is really quite good on technology issues and science issues. And hi, Zoe. Appreciate your service. She was in the congressional district next to where I used to live.
So what Trump is doing is that he's trying to remove the people who know how the systems works. Then he will claim that the system is broken, and then he will rebuild it around loyalty. That's what he's going to do, right?
And then his oligarchs don't have to worry about scientific facts.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is a political capture of institutions, independent institutions, right? And also trying to influence them through funding delays and leadership instability and grant cancellation, staff cuts, et cetera, right? So it's total eradication of independence of science agencies. That's what's happening at this point. And this is not going to be good for future generations to come if this continues. And there will be rippling effects.
Well, yeah, and generational effects. But in the way I look at it as not from being from the United States is, oh, so you're saying there's a bunch of really highly educated people who know about a lot of the future of technology going on in one of the more advanced countries in the world that is currently falling down? Hey, hi. Would you like to, have you considered coming over to Canada and shilling your services? Thank you. We appreciate. That's the way I look at it. Okay, next one. It's really dumb and it's a bad move. The end. It's like it's not complicated, I don't think.
Agreed.
It's one of those Fallout situations. Everyone disliked that.
Yeah, everyone disliked that. Detained immigrants launch a hunger strike at Michigan ICE facility. So yeah, ICE is still a thing.
Wow.
Story was updated on April 23rd with a statement from the U.S. Homeland Security. Immigrants being held at the largest detention center in Michigan launched a hunger strike on Monday, April 20th, over living conditions and access to medical care at the facility, according to advocates and lawyers. The strike at North Lake Processing Center, located in Baldwin, is also meant to protest federal policies that have kept immigrant detainees locked up indefinitely without bond. And I can't see the rest of the article because fuck you. So there's...
ICE facilities don't meet U.S. law or international law as far as treatment of people, but they don't care because essentially Agent Orange wants to feed his MAGA base, right? Sadly,
the cruelty is the point.
Yeah, yes. It's the point and the intention. It's not a bug; it's a feature.
Yeah, and that's actually part of my concern with the idea of a hunger strike, because hunger strikes are an appeal to the humanity of the people who are currently oppressing you. And that doesn't work well if they don't have that.
Yeah.
I mean, those people that are facing fascists in concentration camps in Europe did not have an option of hunger strikes because they would have just said, okay, then die, right? The same thing. The ICE people and people that are direct ICE would just rather those people die. They really don't care.
Remember hearing from somebody who was being detained. Well, I believe Ron DeSantis was working there. And they tried to do a hunger strike, and Ron DeSantis and his goons just force-fed them until they vomited. So a hunger strike this hunger strike question about effectiveness might have less to do with the people that are keeping them, like the ICE agents that are keeping them there, and might have to do with mobilizing the people outside who are already upset with what ICE is doing and want to be against it. So they might not be trying to actually appeal to like the ICE officers. Sorry, that's not wrong for that. The goons, the ICE goons. But they might be doing things to get... Yeah. Well, I said goons a minute ago. They might be trying to appeal to people who are, or like stoke anger towards people who are already protesting, or even to get media attention to be like, hey guys, remember we exist? Hey, please, hi, hello. Don't forget that this is happening.
Like Dapper said, right? And like Chesh, you said, if I can bring it together, Dapper said that it's about appealing to humanity when you are going on hunger strikes and stuff, right? And the people who are managing all this don't have that humanity. And then Chesh added that it's appealing to the people who are outside who can influence everything. So I think it's about appealing to the humanity of the people who are on the outside who have the power to influence, right?
And
when
the problem is
out,
that whole
appeals to their humanity and to step it up. And because merely protest is not going to do anything now. Something else has to be done. So going on a hunger strike kind of creates that, effect.
The MAGA push has been to say immigrants are bad, right? The state-run media called Fox and Friends are trying to illustrate every time an immigrant has done something wrong, try to convince the section of the public that immigrants are bad and ICE is helping them stay safe. And then they excuse the process when ICE agents act unconstitutionally, and they say, yeah, but we need to protect ourselves, Biden, blah, 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 sort of stuff. And so part of the problem is that even though the MAGA supporters might be, pick your percentage, 20%, 30%, they're enough of a factor that representatives are fearful of becoming anti-ICE.
Yeah.
And while ICE needs to be abolished, I think what I'm looking forward to is having an administration that essentially fires for cause all ICE agents that have been hired since 2021, January.
And prosecutes them for crimes that they're doing.
They're not even checking if they have any warrants for them or they have committed any crimes in the past or not doing any background checks on them. They're just like letting them in left, right, and center.
If you
it's just ridiculous.
No, it's only right and center, not left.
There is no left. If you are from the United States and you want to travel or immigrate or move to Canada, as of right now, the borders are still open. So get your paperwork together, get your passport, travel. You can be in Canada for 6 months, make your plans with basically no questions asked, and when you're here, talk to an immigration lawyer and see what you need. You can also email them.
Yeah.
Part of it depends on like what kind of jobs and skills do you have. Right now, immigration is a little bit more difficult because Canadians are wary of Americans. But we're not mean to Americans who come over. So come over for now, see what your options are, see what people are looking for, and go for it. Why not? Next up.
And then behave yourself when you go across the border.
Behave. Be the best behavior.
Don't scare the beavers.
At least 10 people tied to sensitive U.S. research have died or disappeared in recent years, sparking a federal investigation. A nuclear physicist and MIT professor fatally shot outside his Massachusetts residence, a retired Air Force general missing from his New Mexico home, an aerospace engineer who disappeared during a hike in Los Angeles. These are among at least 10 individuals connected to sensitive U.S. nuclear and aerospace research who have died or disappeared in recent years, prompting concerns whether they are connected and fueling speculation online about the possibility of nefarious activity. The FBI now says it, quote, is spearheading the effort to look for connections into the missing and deceased scientist, adding that it, quote, is working with Department of Energy, Department of War, and with our state and the local law enforcement partners to find answers, end quote.
It's the Department of Defense, by the way. It's not, we don't have a Department of War. And this is clickbait.
No.
And the stats that they're talking about, that basically they've said, because what happens to Americans is happening even less frequently to these researchers. I'm not saying that they have problems and there's crime. It's just that this kind of is a
sounds a little bit like a conspiracy theory, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But don't worry though.
I think that there's investigation
has
going
his
on,
best
but
bottles of booze on it.
Yep, Kash Patel and
Oh my
Kash
God.
Patel. Listen, that's the Department of that's Kash Patel and what's his face? Drinky McDrink Boy. I mean, they're both
Pete
alcoholic.
Hegseth? Oh yeah.
Yeah, Hegseth and Patel. Go on,
I
Manya.
say as someone who routinely drinks at work.
I loved it when like Patel like fucking lost his cool when someone asked him about his drinking shit, and I was just like, and Hexen had to jump in and tell the reporters, "Can you be respectful, please?" And let me tell you, Patel is definitely drinking. He's
Bro,
So when it was asked,
they dragged NASA into this. Go ahead.
yeah, and it's again, this is clickbait stuff. So
Conspiracy theories. I mostly just I brought this up because I wanted to make fun of the Kash Patel and Pete Hegseth.
and also again, so the fact that they call it Department of War, so that's another tell that they're. But yes, I think that I'm looking forward to members of Congress asking. Yeah, asking.
Manya, let Landon finish.
When he what his last drinks were, but that notion of his suing the Atlantic, I don't know if you have that on the list.
Oh, let me grab it. Hold on.
Wasn't that already dismissed?
Was it? Oh my God.
I think so. I don't think that lasted very long.
I'm not sure. I thought
This was, what's the date on this? April 23rd.
yeah.
So it says at the top, it says Kash Patel's lawsuit against the Atlantic will likely fail, and might not be the point. Patel's lawsuit didn't seem to have inspired much fear or loathing amongst Washington journalists, mainly because Trump has made suing news organization and losing so routine. Kash Patel was
Sure.
so.
I mean, what the claim the Atlantic made essentially is that not only is he on drinking binges, not only has staff supplying with booze, but there are times where staff can't actually wake him up because he's in a drunken stupor, is what the Atlantic is claiming. And the problem is that he's suing Atlantic. Atlantic is saying, okay, bring it on, let's do discovery. And I think what will happen is that they will resist discovery. They'll try to say that's national security, whether what he drinks and that sort of thing. And will then try to quash, because the Atlantic wants to basically then bring in people who know, and they'll be saying, no, executive privilege, national security, you can't say anything. And we'll see. I think that Patel will drop the lawsuit rather than risk discovery.
All right, we should take a quick break.
All they have to just give
Go
me
ahead,
one
Manya.
second. All they have to do, the Atlantic lawyers, all they have to do is in the court ask Kash Patel. So, would you take a breathalyzer test?
Breathalyzer.
That'd be so funny.
And just say the handle the breathalyzer and say, "So, would you like to take a test?"
That'd be so good. That'd be amazing. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back in a minute or two. Please enjoy the 1998 Windows screensaver. And welcome back, even though Maanyaa is slow and late. Hi.
What the
Hello.
heck, Maanyaa?
Hi.
She's always late. She takes forever, man. I don't know what she's doing. I keep thinking she
here.
fell into the bathroom.
She's-
Hi, Maanyaa.
Hi, Maanyaa. Welcome back. It's good to see you.
All right. I got one more set, and then we'll do a bunch of good news, because I saved all the good news. And some of it's like, is this really good news? But, you know, I'm going to count it, because we take what we can get here sometimes. All right. So, Trump offers immediate tariff relief to Canadian aluminum and steel companies that commit to U.S. expansion.
Oh.
Canada trying to resume formal talks with the U.S. on sectoral tariff relief. The Trump administration is now offering Canadian and Mexican aluminum and steel companies immediate tariff relief if they commit to moving production to the United States in the future.
So someday,
Well,
maybe.
What's not clear is whether they say moving some or expanding some, or it has to move off. I think what they're saying is that the company has to agree to expand their U.S. presence. I think.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea that the way I'm reading this in my head, I know this probably isn't what is supposed to be being said, but the way I read it in my head is that Trump just wants steel companies to teleport the steel that is in the ground into the United States.
Chesh, to be fair, there is no steel in the ground. Steel is a
Yeah,
thing
but you know what I
humans
mean.
make.
Like
Yeah.
the unrefined resource, yeah.
Yeah, like the
That's
iron
what I
and
think.
the carbon.
Yeah.
Nickel and
Yeah. Can you move your quarry to the United States, please? Yeah, we'll get right on it.
I mean,
I
what
think
it sounds
it's
like
probably
to me,
true.
what it sounds like to me is that Mr. Art of the Deal, which by the way is a book he didn't write, that was a ghostwriter, has said, "Hey, what if I just let you off the hook and you promise me that someday you'll do a thing for me someday."
Someday.
I kind of hope
And
they
they're just
agree
like,
to it.
Yeah, okay, cool. Let's do that, definitely. We'll totally
But-
do that solid,
Sure.
Mhm.
Sure.
But you can have something as simple as the industry that's foreign agrees to have they send the raw material to the U.S. site, who then goes and cuts it into smaller chunks and distributes it. That could be considered expansion of.
Yep.
Yeah. If you can teleport a Waffle House.
No, you can't teleport the Waffle House. You can only teleport to the Waffle House. Come on.
Oh!
Yeah, let's not
Oh.
be unrealistic here.
So what if we teleport the steel, which Donald Trump definitely believes comes straight out of the ground or grows on trees or some shit, and then teleport all of that into a Waffle House? It'll be like the SCP Infinite IKEA.
Oh no. Will there still
Yeah.
be the
Part of
vessel
what's
for
happening
the-
here is that there are people that donate to the oligarchs and the White House family that are being hurt by the fact that they're having to pay more for importing, material from, let's say, Canada, which has a lot of, let's say, aluminium, and so they're been saying to the White House, "Hey, knock it off." So they're trying to come up with this face-saving thing of saying, "Well, they will agree to expand in the U.S. and therefore we've won the trade thing." But in fact, they're essentially bribing, because they're saying, "Well, we'll give you money for your ballroom, for your giant arch, or let you scam people out of cryptocurrency value. In return, come with some way that we don't have to pay the tariffs."
Well, from my understanding, a handful of the car companies like Hyundai, Toyota, like the not American car companies, have basically planned on migrating to Canada as opposed, like, are picking Canada over the United States. So this could be like a response to that, because believe it or not, there's a lot of aluminum and or aluminium and steel in cars. So quote, "It's a very aggressive tactic by the United States," said international trade lawyer William Pellerin. Quote, "This really reinforces the approach that we've seen from the United States for a while now, which is simply, we win if you lose." The United
Yeah.
States President Donald Trump trade policy is focused on using steep tariffs to try to push foreign companies of all kinds to move production to the United States. As part of that strategy, the administration has been clobbering Canada's aluminum and steel sectors with tariffs for more than a year, escalating to 50%. And, like, that's one of his threats recently was like, well, look out, Canada, we're gonna raise tariffs on you more during when we renegotiate CUSMA, because that's coming back. So the CUSMA, for anybody who doesn't know, is the North America Trade Agreement, which was NAFTA. It's NAFTA 2, but worse.
Yeah.
And so it's called CUSMA in Canada. It's called MCUSA or MCUS in Mexico, I think. And then the United States calls it USMCA, I think. Basically, all the countries put their own name first for reasons instead of it just being fucking NAFTA, which is goofy.
Chesh, This is only somewhat
I
on
also
topic,
wanna know-
but your mention of the infinite IKEA gave me a cursed idea.
Yes.
Let's do a show on your chess channel that's Landon having the top 100 upvoted SCPs read to him over the course of the show.
That would be good. That would be funny.
There's some bangers in there.
There's some bangers in there.
Oh yeah.
But so keep in mind, by the way, that the CUSMA that Trump is complaining about right now is the one that he negotiated.
Yeah, but he doesn't remember that.
No.
Also, it's his like classic like loop that he does, right? He creates the tariff pressure, then he offers exemptions or relief, but then he makes the relief conditional, and then if people comply, then he calls it victory in protecting American workers when it's not that. And my other question is, how are the conditions going to be met? Does he want? Is the condition is that Canada first transfers all the manufacturing, some manufacturing facilities to USA, and then he will give them relief on tariffs? Or is it like he will first give them relief on tariffs, and then it's on them in what timeline they wish to transfer the manufacturing?
Well, the Prime Minister of Canada did an address that was basically related to all of this.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I can play you part of it if you want. I'm gonna skip through parts of it, but this is basically it.
I know from experience that outside forces can sometimes seem overwhelming. My previous jobs at the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England was part of my duties to make regular public reports on what we were doing to manage the economy. And I remember during the financial crisis, when there was a real risk of panic, I developed a practice called forward guidance. It was designed to assure people that however difficult the situation seemed on any given day, that we were acting, and importantly, that we would continue to act with overwhelming force against our problems until they were solved. And that's the spirit I'm talking to you about today. Security can't be achieved by ignoring the obvious or downplaying the very real threats that we Canadians face. I promise you, I will never sugarcoat our challenges. Instead, I will talk with you directly and regularly about our plan, why we're doing what we're doing, what's working, what isn't, and what we're going to do next. So here's the current situation. The world, as I said earlier, is more dangerous and divided. The U.S. has fundamentally changed its approach to trade, raising its tariffs to levels last seen during the Great Depression. Many of our former strengths, based on our close ties to America, have become our weaknesses that we must correct. Workers in our industries most affected by U.S. tariffs, in autos, in steel, in lumber, are under threat. Businesses are holding back investments, restrained by the pall of uncertainty that's hanging over all of us. The U.S. has changed, and we must respond.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause him there. I don't know if Donald Trump understands anything, but when it comes to like the entire approach to the way he's doing trade and trying to weaponize tariffs is not only backfiring, has not only continued to backfire, but is only going to backfire more. He has not realized, or his team has not realized, that tariffing Canada or attacking our industries does nothing but piss us off.
Yep. I mean, rightfully so.
Yeah, it's so what's he already did like his big quote unquote surprise attack where he tariffed everybody a bajillion %, and where's he got to go? What's the ceiling? What are you gonna do? Tariff us more? We don't care. Like in response to this,
what if he tariffs you 1,000,000 trillion billion quadrillion %?
he still thinks that the tariffs are hurting Canadian buyers.
That's
right?
That's a
Yeah,
number,
that's what he thinks.
600%.
I don't know
Yeah.
how.
You want to know how everybody's responding to him doing this in Kuzma? Canada and Mexico to agree to close coordination on USMCA talks.
Yeah.
Duh! Everybody's like, Canada and Mexico are already operating, working around what the United States is trying to do, because why wouldn't they?
Canada is going to get all that Mexican
Right.
Coke that the U.S. wants.
Right?
It's better. The Mexican Coke is better than U.S. Coke. It just is.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean the Coca-Cola? Okay, I thought.
Yeah, no, I'm
yeah,
serious, Maanyaa. There, you can go into grocery stores in the United States and find in a separate special section Mexican bottled Coca-Cola, because Mexican bottled Coca-Cola tastes better than U.S. bottled Coca-Cola.
You also know that the Mexican Coca-Cola is more addictive. It's
You say
caused
that like
a
Americans give a
diabetic
shit.
pandemic in Mexico. I'm just saying. If you care about your country, just think about that.
But for what this means,
it's caused a diabetic pandemic.
What this means, though, is that not only will Canada and Mexico reach their own agreements, they are agreeing to work together to get the best benefit for both of them against the United States, as opposed to just everybody agreeing to work together.
Yeah.
Yep, it's just the primary victims of the whole tariff regime are Americans.
Yes.
That's not to say it's great for everyone else.
Correct.
It's not. It sucks for everyone. There are no winners when tariff barriers jump up to crazy levels, but the primary victims of tariffs are always the people who live in the country imposing the tariffs.
Yeah.
It's not even complicated economics. It's pretty basic.
Yeah, and like it was brought up, the last time we've seen tariff hikes like this was the Great Depression, and how did that go? Was it poorly? Was it bad? Was it big badly? Yeah.
It was so bad that tariffs became a dirty word in American politics for decades.
Yep.
But
also, Macron
Even
says that
Ronald
EU...
Reagan hated them.
Yeah, this is true. But the U.S. has changed, and we must respond, Mark Carney says in his direct address, like I showed you, with the United States acting more like an economic force than an ally under the presidency of Donald Trump. Prime Minister Mark Carney and said Canada's former strength, built on our bond with America, has become a weakness that must be corrected. And so, like, I don't think he's wrong. It's something that Canada has been through before, right? That, like, they go back and forth, right? Canada will want more independence sometimes, and then they'll start working together with the United States. The United States will get uppity, and Canada will be like, no thanks, and move away, and then back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it happens, like, roughly every 80 years. It's like an 80-year loop.
maybe 40 years.
Well, the thing is,
You think it's 40?
Like
West-
I think about 40.
At this point, like, United States is they're acting as a state power. They're not, like Chesh said, they're not acting like an ally. So you can reason with allies, not with a state power. So yeah. It's
and one of the things is like, oh, sorry.
Go on.
If the U.S. plays ball, right, and is going to be like an actual cooperating ally in like economic matters, the U.S. is a great economic partner to have if they're actually acting like an economic partner and not a bully. Because the U.S. has absurd amounts of natural resources, which lends to extraction, to primary production of goods, all sorts of stuff that the U.S. has a relative advantage on compared to many other countries. That's why, historically, so many countries have wanted to play ball with the U.S. But when the U.S. is like, no, I don't wanna, you can go do some trade with someone else, what else are you supposed to do but say, okay, bye?
Well, and on top of that, the United States is also continuously shooting itself in the foot by making itself a detriment to itself its own people do not have economic buying power. So even if you are selling stuff to America, you're not going to be able to sell it to as many people, et cetera, et cetera. So they're kneecapping themselves. And then on top of that, you also have this major issue where they're taking all of their money and they're not investing in themselves. So like we just saw with them taking funding away and firing scientists and fucking around with NASA and fucking around with even the foreign aid is to a degree an investment in American economics because you have to build and do the logistics in the United States to then ship the stuff out. So that's like a whole economic ecosystem. And so
what if we just don't?
What if we just don't? Well, then nobody plays ball with you, and then you be sad about it, I guess. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, so sad.
But they're stinky. Those other countries are stinky. Yeah.
Stinky goobers.
Oh, stinky.
Like Trump himself is stinky.
Yeah, I was gonna say no one's as stinky as your president right now.
Oh God! Did you just say to Dapper, your president?
Yeah, your president.
She's not wrong. I live in and am a citizen of the former United States.
Macron says EU
Former
joint
United
defense
States,
clause is stronger than the NATO one. So as we were saying earlier about whether or not NATO is going to matter, or whether or not the United States is... And remember how I mentioned that I'm pretty sure this is not a test for NATO, it's a test for the United States? And what is the United States going to do? Because that seems to be up in the air. This is kind of what I'm talking about. The European Union already has an agreement amongst themselves, and bringing Canada into that, and Canada already also being brought into that northern group. What's that group called? I forget. Does anybody remember?
I don't know.
It's like Denmark and Norway and Finland and...
They're the Nordic countries, but
yeah, they have they have a band name. I can't remember what it is. Hold on.
I think the clause is stronger. I don't know that the actual EU has disentangled themselves from foreign complications in their defense. The other problem that EU faces is that the EU defense clause can have a single actor veto in certain circumstances. So, for example, the EU tried to bolster defense against Russia, and when the dictator of Hungary was there, would veto attempts to try to strengthen things. So, in some sense, I get what Macron's trying to say. I'm not sure that the EU has demonstrated that over long term, that the defense is actually mutual amongst themselves. They need to do that. I'm in favor of Europe taking care of itself, not having to rely on others, but it needs to have a better system so that a rogue EU country like Hungary used to be, and may still be, who knows, it can't bottled up, right? Because the EU was prepared to offer Ukraine significant defense capabilities, and Oban would basically veto that. 100%.
Yeah, there was a conference. There was a Nordic conference, and Canada got invited. This is the video for it if anybody wanted to watch it. But Germany wasn't there. Germany was for the part of the other meeting that they had. But you've got all of them are there, and Canada got invited, right? Just like the same way Canada's getting invited to to participate in things that is it just the Nordic Council? Whatever it is, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's like all it's like Finland and Denmark and blah 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 blah. It's all of them.
All the cold places.
All those northern, all that whole group. And so Canada, realistically, it makes sense for Canada to be part of that group because we're there. We're right there. But at the same time, when you see the United States pulling out of things like NATO, and you see the EU, and realistically, Macron, in my opinion, does seem to be taking a leadership role in the EU as same with is the leader of Germany a prime minister? I don't remember what he's Is he a
Chancellor.
Chancellor? That's what it
Chancellor.
is.
Chancellor.
He's
Just like the Klingon Empire.
he's stepped forward a little bit, but like Macron has definitely been taking like the leadership role when it comes to the EU.
And I don't know. You'd have to look at the actual French that he said as to whether he says that the clause can be stronger or has stronger abilities versus the English translation. Yeah, I say because again, the EU is not there yet. But he's saying what I thought was being projected was that the EU defense needs to get on board. Now, countries like Portugal were resisting some of the calls to have stronger military ties, wanting to rely on NATO, right? And then of course, back when Orban was a dictator of Hungary, they would also block things.
Traditionally, Canada has not been a part of or grouped in this manner, right? We've been tied so heavily to the United States that if the United States is part of it, then Canada's probably part of it, and if the United States isn't part of it, then Canada's probably not part of it. But as we're seeing this separation happen, it means that you're going to see not only the United States left out from an economic standpoint, but also from a protection and a military standpoint. And there's a good portion of safety that Canada provides to the United States from Russia, right? By being in that northern buffer, right? But sorry, go ahead.
But I was saying, you were talking about with the stuff about he's talking about in this article that essentially that NATO is a paper tiger, and part of that comes from the fact that they're worried about what Trump will do in terms of being a vengeful son of a bitch and a narcissist. They're afraid of that. Now, the U.S. law says that the president cannot unilaterally pull out of NATO. It requires congressional.
Yeah, to be
approval.
clear, it is Donald Trump calling them a paper tiger, calling NATO a paper tiger.
Yes. And so not that Trump cares about the law, but But on the other hand, I think Macron is trying to establish leadership to say that Europe needs to be focused on taking care of itself at the EU level, not as a part of NATO.
Yeah. Well, and with
also,
go ahead, Maddie.
Can I? Yeah. Also, like the simple explanation is that the NATO Article 5 says that attack on one NATO member is treated like an attack on all, but each ally decides what action it deems necessary. Whereas in the EU's article, I don't know which article it is,
42.7.
42.7.
Yeah. It says an EU member is if an EU member is the victim of armed aggression on its territory, the other members have an obligation to aid and assistance by all means in their power. So they're obligated by that article.
True, but the other thing is that it's not necessarily you wait for an attack, right? If there is threats like what Russia is doing with Kaliningrad and threatening Poland and Latvia, what EU needs to be able to do is to put up defenses to prevent the attack rather than waiting to respond to an attack. And that is something that, in the past, the dictator of Hungary was blocking. Now, that may change, but again, I think EU is working on mutual self-defense, recognizing that NATO may not be there, right? Even though Trump can't legally at this stage pull the U.S. out of NATO, he might essentially prevent any assets from being used. Such as one of the things that NATO depends upon is a lot of U.S. spy satellites. And so Europe has to get their own intelligence and monitoring services if they don't want
Poland is actually... Poland did something related to the satellites when Elon Musk was fucking with Ukraine. Poland started investing in a completely different company. But on top of that, there's... when it comes to... So there's already the rearmament program that the EU is doing, right? And specifically, as far as I understand, they are not looking at investing in American military. It looks to me like they're looking at investing both in Canada, which is already on the table and part of the agreement, and potentially Australia, I think, is the other one that's on the table. But all of these countries working together while also moving away from the American industrial complex, while also still relying on allies outside of their own country to help with this rearmament, particularly against Russia. Like, realistically, the enemy in this scenario is fucking Russia. And so it's not like it's just, oh, we should just be prepared for an attack that might come. It's like, no! Russia, like, Poland is saying, hi, guys, Russia is here now. We need to do something about this. So, I mean, we'll see, but I do think that with the European Union stepping up their defense in general and then relying on this clause as opposed to NATO, and then also building better relations with Canada, with Australia, with New Zealand, with the Nordic country, whichever. Are all of the Nordic countries in the EU? I don't think so.
Well,
I might be wrong about that,
there's some are sort of part. I mean, Norway's membership is special and so
yeah, so like if they do that and then kind of swing in a couple of these partial memberships or add benefits to do that, there's a lot that can be done without the United States, and I think that's really what everybody is getting up to, because I think the United States is slowly shifting from being a reliable ally to being an unstable problem to being a menace. To being, well, I'm saying slowly because I don't think everybody is looking at the United States as an enemy yet.
Oh, so the perception is slowly shifting.
The perception is not at enemy yet. I think everybody so far is like, maybe it should be, but I definitely don't think from a political standpoint it would be a good position to take yet. So, but, like, when it comes to even people, like, going to war with the United States is not something that anybody really wants to do. Like, not any former ally really wants to do. But being prepared and setting everybody up so that way they're confident or comfortable without the United States before the United States decides to make itself the enemy of literally everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the direction. So, yeah, also, take it, leave it.
There's space between being an enemy in the broad sense and being a belligerent in a war. Like, right now, I would argue that, like, China is an enemy of the United States. There's not much probability of a war in the next few years, I don't think, between those two countries. And so I would say that, I think to a large extent, if you think that the United States is a friend of your country and your country isn't Russia, you're probably wrong about that.
Yeah.
The United States is at best a frenemy, at best, and is probably your enemy if you're another country. Now, that doesn't mean that your best bet is to be like, oh, we're going to just not accept any trade from the U.S. and we're going to be completely hostile.
Yeah, that's not a good move.
Relations.
Yeah,
that's not a good
smart
move. But treating them like they're going to be a friend, like they're going to come to your aid when you need them, or like they're going to treat you fairly, like why?
Yeah.
Because even when Trump goes, what this has shown about the United States is that a sizable fraction of the United States will look at the international order, will look at basic human rights, will look at just competency, like basic ability to think, and say, you know what, fuck that. I don't want any of that.
Yep. Padme the Cat for 666 said, we are no longer a clear partnership with our allies. I think our allies are smart enough to understand that this is temporary, I hope, ellipses. And I think that's part of what I'm saying when I say people aren't viewing the United States as an enemy yet. And I don't think people want to. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not the United States forces it.
So one of the things about this being temporary is that, on the one hand, it is true that, like, the Trump regime is not going to last forever, if only because, I mean, Trump can't have that many years left, right? He's clearly rotting in front of us. But, like I said before, the problem is that his election, not just once, but twice, shows you that there is a large portion of the population with an appetite for these absurd, completely dumbass, and cruel policies. And that's what they want. What this has revealed is that a large section of the U.S. electorate wants to be dicks to everyone.
Well, it's
means
this
what prevents the
ignorance
next
is a
Trump?
thing to
Nothing.
brag about. Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you're like,
It's
oh,
all
well,
about
the
trying
next,
to be in control. They
yeah,
have that
Yeah.
feeling
And so, like,
of being
sure,
in control, and
power.
if they, yeah,
the next president might
Yeah.
be a super nice guy who's like, oh, we got to repair our international relationships. Okay, what's the guy after that going to be like?
Right,
What
exactly. It's a
makes you think
systemic
it's not going to
problem.
be Trump too?
Donald Trump is, how old is he? Born in 1946. He is currently,
Oh, he'll be 80 this year.
79?
yeah, 79.
79.
He'll be 80 in June.
Yep. He and I share a birthday. That's fun.
Oh. Aw.
oh
Yeah.
shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we got
But you're
one.
older.
yeah,
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am older.
I don't know whether or not this counts as good news or just put it in the good news category, but Mr. Beast is dealing with a lawsuit.
Another lawsuit.
Oh, yeah,
Another
I
one.
heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Beast
Yeah.
employee alleges she was harassed for years and fired after maternity leave in a new lawsuit. This guy's the worst. I just want to, that's my personal opinion. This guy's the fucking worst. I've never liked Mr. Beast, and the more I hear about him, the more I dislike him. He's such a
weird.
douchebag. A former Beast Industries employee is suing Mr. Beast's media production company after she was allegedly fired from her social media manager job upon returning from maternity leave and following years of what she described as sexual harassment and workplace gender bias. The lawsuit filed by Lorraine, last name, in federal courts of North Carolina on Wednesday accuses Mr. Beast YouTube LLC and Game Changer 24/7 LLC of violating federal law that entitles eligible employees to take unpaid, job-protected leave for qualifying family and medical reasons, including childbirth. She also filed a complaint with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission alleging discrimination on the basis of sex, pregnancy, and retaliation. Claims that she worked nonstop following her baby's birth, as well as while in the delivery room. Quote, "I was still bleeding and I just had to show up," she told the Associated Press in an interview. Less than 3 weeks after she returned to work full-time, she said she was fired. A Beast Industries spokesperson called the lawsuit a clout-chasing complaint built on deliberate misrepresentations and categorically false statements in an email statement. Her position was eliminated, according to the spokesperson, when the new head of e-commerce reorganized her team. I just like that the Beast Industries spokesperson, talking about a lawsuit, called it clout chasing.
Cloud
It's
chasing.
such internet
Also,
language for, like,
fail-
legal stuff.
They failed to mention how they advertised for a similar position immediately after firing her, not even giving her a
course.
chance to apply for that position.
Right. Duh.
I mean, they
Yeah,
don't want to
that's a-
have
that's a
someone
dumb
who's going to
HR
get
move.
pregnant
Gross.
join the team. Yeah.
Gross.
Ew.
Ew.
So, like, yeah, so that if this person who's suing Mr. Beast can prove that there was a similar position that was advertised immediately around the time or after she was fired, and she was not allowed to apply for it, or she wasn't given the opportunity to apply for it, she's got her case in the bag. She's got her case in the bag. Let's
There's
just-
already been
Because
a
you-
lot of, like, alleged and shown harassment, and a lot of both sexual and otherwise, and what you could constitute, like, legal violations when it comes to, like, things that would be considered torture. So
Yeah. It's so yeah, it's a I
I look forward to his
yeah,
loss.
I really hope yeah. I really hope this person wins and, like, really like bankrupts.
Oh, I hope she
It's-
makes out like a
really hope-
bandit. I hope she makes out like a fucking bandit with just money.
Athens has
If
the
we
right
settle
idea.
outside
Just
the court,
don't
I hope
get
she gets the word.
pregagante.
Don't get pregagante.
Yeah.
Pregnant.
Don't do
It's
it.
a bad
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In other good
Especially the world of
news,
Mr. Beast.
the Wireless Festival canceled after Kanye West was banned from entering the UK.
Yes. Yes. Fuck you.
Rapper
Now
had
Nicki
booked
Minaj.
to play at a festival in London, prompting outcry over his past anti-Semitic remarks. Wireless Music Festival has been cancelled after the artist formerly known as Kanye West was banned from entering the UK amid a deepening political row over his previous anti-Semitic statement. West, legally known as Ye, whatever.
In this context,
Wow.
I refuse to accept correction. This is why I'm gonna keep calling Reuters Reuters or whatever.
Oh my
I
god.
mean, at least that one makes more
Well,
sense.
there's some truth to that. Okay.
West, legally known as Ye, was due to headline all 3 days of the festival in July and made an application to travel to the UK via an electronic travel authorization ETA on Monday, but was blocked by officials. A spokesperson for the London Festival confirmed it would no longer go ahead in July and said refunds would be issued to customers who had already bought tickets. The statement issued on Tuesday said, quote, "The Home Office has withdrawn Ye's ETA, denying him entry to the United Kingdoms. As a result, Wireless Festival is cancelled and refunds will be issued to all ticket holders." Quote, "As with every Wireless Festival, multiple stakeholders were consulted in advance of booking Ye, and no concerns were highlighted at the time. Anti-Semitism in all of its forms is abhorrent, and we recognize the real and personal impact these issues have. As Ye said today, he acknowledges that the words alone are not enough, and in spite of this, he hopes to be given the opportunity to begin a conversation with the Jewish community in the UK," end quote.
God, fuck off. No one gives a shit, Kanye.
Oh my
Oh,
fucking
Fuck
god.
right off.
That
When you
is
say,
so
"I
funny.
love Adolf Hitler" repeatedly, and you make Alex Jones look like the fucking adult in the room, go fuck yourself, Kanye.
In other good news, Benjamin Netanyahu has prostate cancer. In not as good news, he's being treated for it.
Mm,
So,
Those poor cancer cells.
He still needs to be brought up on war crime charges, in my opinion.
yes, well, he needs to be brought up on war crime charges, but
but he
also, so you know how Orban stepped down in Hungary because he lost the fucking election, and he's not going back to the parliament. Like, he's just leaving, so he's not even going to be in parliament. But there is now also a call that Hungary is going to arrest Netanyahu if he visits.
oh, good.
Good.
Nice.
As Benjamin Netanyahu's world is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and he's not allowed to go anywhere anymore.
Basically,
Yeah,
the US
he can stay in that far
Israel.
corner of the world.
Yeah, right now I'm pretty sure the United States and Israel are like the two biggest. Well, I mean, he has to be allowed in Israel, but like I think the United States is the largest place that still allows him to be without getting arrested.
Yeah.
But there's that. But yeah, he's being treated for it. What a loser. Fucking whatever, I guess. But he's got prostate cancer, so
I am joining the
I feel
war on
bad for-
cancer on the side of
So-
specifically Netanyahu's prostate cancer.
But aren't you supposed to say F cancer? Isn't that the...
Fuck cancer.
Look,
but also
there
specifically,
are
I want the
exceptions.
cancer in Benjamin Netanyahu's ass to fuck so they can produce more and maybe end up somewhere in Donald Trump's mouth. Because that seems to be the connection going on here.
One of the things that you learn very fast if you study biology a lot is that there are a lot of rules, but every single rule in biology has an exception. And I'm going to argue that because fuck cancer is about biology, it too has exceptions. And one of the exceptions is Netanyahu's prostate cancer.
Yes.
Yeah.
In other good news, a jury finds that Ticketmaster and Live Nation had an anti-competitive monopoly over big concert venues.
Really?
Like everyone knew.
I'm shocked.
Well, yeah, but to actually, I'm just glad to see that, like, there's actually progress and that there's
Yes.
actually legal ramifications. We all knew this was a thing, and it was basically like trust busting.
Yeah.
But like, damn, to actually have a jury found Wednesday that entertainment giant Live Nation, which hosts tens of thousands of concerts a year, and its Ticketmaster subsidiary had a harmful monopoly over big venues. The ruling in a lawsuit brought by dozens of states won't immediately bring relief for concert goers who have long complained about high ticket prices, but it could cost Live Nation hundreds of millions of dollars, and perhaps force the company to sell some of its concert venues when the judge hands out the penalties later. Among other things, the jury found that Ticketmaster's anti-competitive practices led to 22 states paying an extra $1.72 per ticket, which the judge could order the companies to pay back. A jury in New York deliberated for 4 days, reaching its decision.
How many?
I'm surprised it took that long.
172, sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
So
more,
basically,
but,
if you're part
Per
of
ticket.
the class in the class action, you might get as much as $10 or something back. Whoa.
It's less.
that's what
it's
I'm saying.
less.
I'm just like,
Yeah, it's less about it's $1.72 per ticket, but you need to think about how much that's going to cost a company who's selling and monopolizing billions of tickets for X number of years, right? So it's not going to do a whole lot for the concert goers when it comes to reimbursement, but it might do a lot to Ticketmaster and them having to sell off some of their assets so they're not a monopoly anymore.
Speaking of reimbursement, I got a tax return this year for
that's
$6,
ooh,
Wow.
which is only less than 1,000th of what I paid.
Speaking of other good news, U.S.
let's go,
millionaire
let's go.
big game hunter dies after being crushed by elephants.
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Aw.
Go elephants! Go elephants!
Ernie Docio, a 75-year-old vineyard owner, was hunting an antelope species in Africa when the incident occurred.
Elephants
An
are like,
American
"What
millionaire. Oh, they were American, to the surprise of nobody. An American millionaire,
nobody.
big game hunter, has died after being crushed by a group of elephants during a hunting expedition. 75-year-old vineyard owner was hunting yellowback duiker, an antelope species,
Tweaker.
in the
Duiker.
D-U-I-ker.
Tweaker is a
Tweaker,
little bit
but
larger
okay.
than a deek. Yeah.
It's a dick.
That's okay. You can't say it's a little bit larger than the smallest artiodactyl, Landon. That's all of them.
An antelope species.
I did say it was a little bit larger. Right.
In Central Africa, when the incident occurred last Friday, in the Lope Okanda rainforest, he and his guide unexpectedly came across 5 female elephants accompanied by a calf. Originally from California, he built an extensive collection of hunting trophies over the years, including animals such as elephants and lions. He was reportedly a familiar name within Sacramento Safari Club. According to the Daily Mail, safari operator Collect Africa confirmed the death of its client. The company also reported that the professional hunter guiding him sustained serious injuries during the encounter. Reflecting on his life, a retired hunter who knew him shared with the UK outlet, quote, Ernie has been hunting since he could hold a rifle and as many trophies from Africa and the United States. Although many disagree with big game hunting, all Ernie's hunts were strictly licensed and above board and were registered as conservation and culling animal numbers. Anyway, he got crushed by fucking elephants.
And I want to point out, if you go to Wikipedia and look at the deekers, they're little critters, slightly larger than deeks, but they're not normal size. And so this person was just wanting to have another stupid trophy.
Yeah.
If you go to Wikipedia, you see a little pictures. They're very cute things.
Anyway, womp womp.
They're about you know.
Oh, I do want to point a quick thing out.
Yeah.
What's pictured here is so most African elephants that you see in pictures are Loxodonta africana, but the African bush elephant. But this is pictures of Loxodonta cyclotis, the only recently recognized smaller and far more rare African forest elephant.
They're very cute. I like that their tusks are kind of orange, unless that's just the blood of Ernie, in which case, rad.
No,
That's metal.
Their tusks usually get stained because they use the tusks to root around in the dirt for like food and stuff like that. Yeah.
Let me fantasize.
And the blue duikers actually can be a range of about 3 kilograms on the low side. So they actually can be. There's the ones that are about 70 kilograms, a little bit larger ones. So
I'll see if I can get a picture of them so everybody can see how cute they are.
Duiker are like Chesh size.
They're little tiny goobers. Look at them. Look at my little tiny goobers. Look at that little goober. That one kind of looks like it's eating a rat. Look at him. So cute. Anyway, in other good news.
So the elephants basically protected them by stomping in them, but also
this guy also hunted elephants. So
it's a bad thing to mess with elephants that have babies because they tend to be very defensive of their little.
It's bad to mess with elephants at all. Just don't.
Generally, yeah. Although one of my favorite ever elephant pictures is an Asian elephant trying to hide behind a telephone pole and doing a really, really bad job of it because it turns out that the telephone pole is far too skinny.
I'm really irritated because I pulled up an article that says inside the miracle drug rollout that could end AIDS, and I scroll down and it was a video of fucking Pierce Morgan and fucking what's his name? Russell Brand.
Yeah.
Ew. All right. A groundbreaking new drug to prevent HIV infection, the closest the world has to a vaccine, is being rolled out in some of the worst hit countries in the world. Chief international correspondent Belle True reports from Eswatini, South Africa, where there is hope that the pandemic could. Oh, sorry, Southern Africa, where the hope that the pandemic could be brought to an end.
Yeah, you know what happened in South Africa? Christianity, and then abstinence, and then a religious campaign against condoms.
That did happen.
That did happen. It's true. So it looks like a twice yearly injection.
If for those that it's a country. It is mostly surrounded. It's at the edge of South Africa. It's one of the little tiny carve out bits that was independent of South Africa.
So yeah, there's been because the United States President Donald Trump is cutting foreign aid and such. They were really worried about the closure of the mobile clinics and gave them access to the HIV prevention therapy. But they're hopeful that with this new drug, they'll be able to do 2 twice a year, and they won't have to do as much, right? Like as they scale it out. So hopefully it works.
Yeah.
At the beginning of 2025, the world was on track to end the AIDS pandemic by 2030, but that was upended by the unprecedented foreign aid cuts from the United States, the UK, and other countries, which have created the biggest ever disruptions to HIV response, from testing to treatment and prevention.
And of course, the problem, it doesn't help the fact that Trump, the racist son of a bitch that he is, says, well, those are just a bunch of low IQ people. That's Trump's code word for he's a racist son of a bitch.
Yes.
Yep.
So
especially given how low his IQ must be at this point.
So on the plus side, it looks like this rollout could help deal with the epidemic and pandemic in the area. And like that'll help the rest of the world too. You know what I mean? So like it's not like it's just good for Southern Africa. It's going to be good for anywhere and everywhere where there is AIDS at all, which is basically everywhere. In other good news, cancer vaccines.
Yay!
Yay!
Specifically pancreatic cancer.
Following this one.
So what type of pancreatic cancer, right? Because there's various types, some of which are worse than others, so range.
Yeah, so according to this, an experimental individualized therapeutic cancer vaccine that uses messenger mRNA messenger RNA or mRNA to treat pancreatic cancer continues to show potential in a small patient group. Follow-up results from a phase 1 clinical trial show that nearly 90% of people whose immune systems responded to the vaccine were still alive up to 6 years after receiving the last treatment. The 5-year survival rate for pancreatic cancer is around 13%, according to the American Cancer Society's Cancer Statistics 2026 report. Quote, these early results show that the new immunotherapy approach has the potential to make a difference of one of the deadliest cancers. The trial's principal investigator and director, quote, the latest data from this small study suggests the vaccine can meaningfully stimulate the immune system in some patients with pancreatic cancer, and these patients continue to do well years after the vaccination. And I'm looking to see if there's anything specific about just pancreatic cancer in general, but I'm not seeing anything.
It's a sad thing that unfortunately one of the things that the anti-vaxxers and idiots like RFK Jr. Have this big thing when you say mRNA. They are really anti anything mRNA because he's an asshole. So
right.
What can you say?
Yeah.
Vaccines are custom made for each patient based on the unique changes in the tumor DNA. In 8 of the 16 patients, the vaccine activated tumor-specific immune cells, meaning that the vaccine taught the immune system to recognize tumor cells as foreign. This triggered the body to produce immune cells called T cells to target and kill the tumor cells. Of 8 patients whose immune system responded to the vaccine, 7, or 87.5%, were still alive 4 to 6 years after surgery. Among the 8 patients who didn't respond, only 2, or 25%, were still alive, with median survival rate of 3.4 years. The results are encouraging, and keep in mind this is a phase 1 testing of 16 patients. So this still has a long way to go. They're still going to be working on it, but if this is successful if it's successful over a long term, do not be surprised to see this being a way to continue to fight other cancers. And eventually, if we get vaccine obviously each of the cancers are different, so you're going to have a different vaccine for each one. Right. But the number of vaccines everybody gets when they're younger is going to go through the roof because they're all going to be so here's for this cancer, here's for this cancer, here's for this cancer, and we're all going to be immune to cancer.
Hooray! Is so angry if he survives long enough, which I hope he doesn't.
I hope he doesn't, but if he does, he's gonna be so mad. But yeah,
there's too many cancer vaccines. We gotta embrace the cancer. The cancer is your body shedding toxins. You need the cancer.
Well, one of the biggest deals about this is that pancreatic cancer is one of the worst killers, right? It's one of the highest ones that kill you, right? So, here, let's give it a little bit of context. So, Donna was the first person to enroll in the autogene fuck off trial in late 2019, more than 6 years ago. She had been diagnosed at age 66 with pancreatic cancer when she and her husband Ed were visiting one of their 3 daughters in Australia. I was in shock, and my thoughts immediately went to my children, yada yada, very sad you got cancer, very shocking, very unfortunate. They returned to the United States and came to MSK for treatment. After meeting with the surgeon, Donna learned she was eligible for the new vaccine trial. The doctors and the oncologist walked her through each step. First, her tumor would be removed with surgery and genetically analyzed to create a vaccine that would teach her immune cells to attack specific mutations present only in her cancer. After getting immunotherapy and the vaccine, she would receive standard chemotherapy. Quote, they described how they would take apart my tumor and make a personalized vaccine, and it sounded amazing. My husband and I had a moment of concern about delaying chemotherapy, but all the doctors made me feel so comfortable that we took a leap of faith and went for it. Over the next few months, Donna received an autoimmune therapy drug and 8 doses of the vaccine, followed by chemotherapy and the final vaccine dose. The chemotherapy was hard on my body, but the vaccine had very little side effects and did not last long. This was right at the beginning of COVID, which made it tricky staying safe while going back and forth to treatment, but MSK held my hand through the entire thing. Today, Donna is 72 after being diagnosed at 66 and is living life to the fullest. She and Ed celebrated their 50th anniversary in Sicily last year and continue to travel extensively and spend time with their 3 daughters and 6 grandchildren.
Wow.
So,
that's great.
Well, that's a really nice thing. So this example of essentially these customized vaccines for bigger patients. Not as if you can
Science,
go to the
bitch!
pharmacy and get a anti-cancer shot. This is a matter of sampling what you have and tuning it for that particular treatment.
Yeah.
And it sounds very interesting. So
It sounds very interesting to me. Yeah, seeing more of a rollout for it, seeing this being applied to other cancers as well, seeing this, including the almost vaccine for AIDS as well getting rolled out, and these kinds of things getting rolled out in other countries. Again, give another 5 years, 10 years, and don't be surprised to see that like starting to show up everywhere. Despite the United States cutting all their funding, because all of this data is going to end up in other countries, and those countries will take care of it.
Thanks, Canada.
I hope that the CDC can recover from what RFK Jr. is doing to it.
Oh boy!
And or attempt to impeach him.
I'm really hoping that what will happen is the United States, everything that gets torn down during the Trump administration and everything that gets, because part of the systemic stuff that is the problem that is Donald Trump, or has become like the main linking factor, is getting destroyed by Donald Trump. So I'm kind of hoping that when the United States gets its time to shine and rebuild itself from the ashes of whatever is left over after Donald Trump shits all over everything that the United States build is better, faster, stronger, harder. I think the Americans can do it.
That's what she said.
I'll give it a try.
I believe in you. I believe Landon is there and Dapper is there. Maanyaa, do you think between Landon and Dapper they can build a better United States?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
That's
see?
assuming I stick around.
We'll try.
Joke's on you. Both Landon and Dapper are gonna get adopted by Canada. Watch. Watch.
Where it's important, I believe personally, to not let them convince you that all is lost, right? That's one of the things that the oligarchs would like people to do, that could have people doing something, is say it's not worth it, give up. Right? Now, I understand why one might feel like giving up, but for those that continue to fight, I just heard another really amazing state senator in Virginia, a lady was one of the pioneers of the civil rights movement, talking about carrying the fight and continuing going forward. Try to not let the doom scrolling of the news convince you that the world is doomed.
That's one of the reasons why we do this show.
Face the problems, and if you can lead. If you can support, and you can try if you can.
Just do what you can. It's really is. If everybody just does what they can, it's going to be a lot. But I am convinced. I am pretty convinced that America is going to come out better, stronger, faster, and just how long that takes is just going to be up to the American people. And you guys can do it. But I am also convinced that, like the claw in Toy Story, both Landon is going to get clawed and brought up north, and Dapper's going to get clawed. The claw. It is chosen. It has shown us the way.
And so far I can go back and forth. There's canyons are over there. The mountains have nice little snows and bits on there from the Cascades. Nice. It's very nice. And funny also, right? I'm actually close enough that my cell signal sometimes shows up in Canada, right? And
nice.
Yeah.
Which will be a problem because BC has decided to not do stupid daylight savings time switching bits, whereas the U.S. hasn't done that, and so it'll be a case where all of a sudden
I'm sitting in Arizona right now, where we don't change the clocks at Landon.
Yeah, we talked about that last month.
I do that in Hawaii as well. Same thing. Okay. Madam Paley does not daylight savings time shift. She goes on her own time. So yeah.
Sapphire in the chat says, my resistance is simply existing as a trans woman. I would like to point out, anybody is a member, if you don't mind using the brick emoji, and as well as trans flags. Yeah, no, resist. Your existence is just pissing people off. Keep up the good work. Living through spite.
Look, stay safe. And if that involves getting out of Dodge, then that's what it involves.
Yeah, valid.
Because you know what? There are things you can do remotely to resist.
And sometimes surviving is resistance enough.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's a sad thing because the oligarch's playbook is to get populists to say to people, "You're having problems. The reason why is them," and they point at them, and it's groups marginalized like that, which is why it's important to be very supportive of the trans community, because they're one of the current popular dump on people, because they try to say, "You're having problems. Don't pay attention to the narcissists in the White House. You're having problems. Look at these bad people. Look at these immigrants. Look at these
the transgender people are the problems, that
all 5 of them.
and so one of the things you can do as is to just be supportive, to treat them as people.
Just be.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Treat people as people.
Let them.
I know it's a novel concept, but
I know, right? Well, these people have, like, a lot of the, like, authoritarians, oligarchs don't view people as people, but also racists don't view other people as people, and authoritarians also don't view other people as people. So it's all trash all the way down. So it's like, so everybody else, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
You outnumber them.
And for all those people that are aiding and abetting Trump and his narcissism, shame on you. When it comes time to pretend like you weren't part of the fascist state, I'm not going to let you off the hook. Right? No. If you were a fascist supporter, you're a fascist supporter, and deciding is no longer convenient. Remember, Trump does not give a damn about you. He doesn't care about the country. He doesn't care about MAGA. He doesn't care about his White House staff. He doesn't care about anything other than himself. He also has this really weird syndrome. He really believes that if he says something several times, it becomes true.
Yes.
Right. It's not just a the Nazi will repeat the lie and people will believe it. He believes that if he says it several times, it is true. Right. And that's one of his syndrome. Yet the people around him know what he's doing. So people like Vance, who has no honor, whose behavior is despicable, whose behavior is cowardly. Vance knows what's going on. He can see it, and yet he's going along with it. And I'm not going to let him forget and pretend like, oh, it wasn't me. Right? I'm sorry. You're part of the fascist regime. Own it. Right? Don't let them off the hook.
Yeah. That's everything that I had for today. I will add links in the description down below. If you have stories that you want us to cover, please feel free to leave them on the community tab. I go through those and pick out some of those when I can. The next show...
Thank you for subscribing. And
yeah.
And getting this back. Yeah.
Yeah, like the stream, share if you like us covering the news in a way that is not, like, fear-mongery and is a little bit more relaxed and probably won't give you an aneurysm or freak you out or send you into a doom spiral. Feel free to come by again, leave a comment. Probably won't. I mean, we're doing our best. I don't know your life. The next stream is philosophy on next Saturday in the afternoon. That'll be with Barry and Opie. So Landon and I interviewed and chatted with Opie not too long ago about scientism. By not too long ago, I mean 2024. That video just came out. So if you want to go and check that out, you should definitely go and check that out. And then there's all kinds of other stuff.
I mean, the next day pub is on May 23rd. Is that correct?
What? May 23rd. Oh, yeah, like the next this show?
Yeah. Is it May 23rd?
This show.
No, it's the 30th.
Oh, it's the 30th.
The last Saturday.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
There's basically a show on this channel every Saturday. There's a live show. And then the debates are interwoven because those can't necessarily always be at the same time every day because everybody has crazy schedules. So I just kind of figure out when people are available and when I can get them. I do believe Dapper and Landon are discussing a debate about numbers coming up, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I maintain that
Nice,
prime numbers
nice.
are actually not that cool, and in fact are inconvenient much of the time.
Yeah. Well. As so I hope you have a prime day on there. But speaking of remaining prime, Yeah, we have the volcano show coming up.
Yes, the next volcano show is on the 15th. Rum and
Yes.
Coke is on the 9th.
On the 9th.
And Tisdale Tuesday is on the 12th on Dapper's channel.
Okay.
Coke is on the 9th.
And then the next debate will be scheduled when I get it sorted out. There's a lot going on, so I've been like juggling a lot of admin stuff and getting things rolling. So it'll get scheduled for next month. It's just a matter of like when. I want to bring on a couple of people who are parents who have trans kids and talk to them about their experience. Because I think people get freaked out of like, oh, well, I'm a parent, what do I do if I have a trans child? So I want to bring on some people who have trans kids to talk about that experience, just to... People get freaked out too easy over fucking nothing, man.
Yeah, it's a sad thing. I have a friend of mine who is expressing their gender in a way that their mother didn't expect, and her mother's having a hard time accepting it, which is really sad.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate when stuff like that happens. But that's what these conversations are for. You will not find debates here about whether or not people are people. That's not a fucking debate. That isn't a discussion. That's just denial addressed in bigotry clothing.
Yes, unless you're a fascist, in which case it's no.
In which case it's no, and we don't like you anyway. Go away.
And by the way, between now and the next debate pub, there will be on our Favorite Universe YouTube channel the presentation of the winners of the 29th International Obfuscated Secret Contest. Date to be determined, but it'll be coming soon. I'm working on building stuff, and our producer David is working on a nice show. So stay tuned.
Yeah, hell yeah, thanks. If you have somebody, Sapphire says that they've been poking at Mark Reed because they've been talking about getting back into debates. Come on over. No Nazis, I promise. I also will not allow anybody to verbally abuse anybody else, which I have seen happen multiple times on places like Modern Day Debates, where it's just, they just let people like Nathan Thompson scream at scientists for some reason. That won't be allowed. But if you do have somebody that you want to see debate or discussion that you think people want to have or people would be interested, please feel free to, again, hit me up in the community tab if you want to schedule something with me, or send them over to my community tab. We can have the discussion there, because that's the easiest way to get a hold of me at this point for this channel. Consider becoming a member. It's super cheap.
Please.
Thank you for supporting. Thank you so much for super chatting. Thank you for participating. Thank you for chatting and enjoying your time. If you had a favorite story or anything, please leave a comment down below if you have thoughts about any of that stuff. Yeah, Modern Day Debate sucks. Feel free down below. And let's get the fuck on out of here. Ice must be abolished. Ice must be abolished. Ice must be abolished. Bumblebee tuna. Bumblebee tuna. Bumblebee tuna. Oh, I have to fix my debate hub. Look, it's tiny. Look, it's tiny. Yeah, tiny little bit of debate hub. Look at that. Look, isn't it cute? Isn't it cute? Okay, bye.